We're back. We're back in Virtual Pool 4 online. We're back for yet another match in this year's VP4 2020 World Straight Pool Championships. It's a one-loss side match between Albinario and Stub. Race to 150. I don't know whether we'll get the tournament bracket up. No, I don't. Hang on a minute. We'll soon fix that. Excuse me. Oh shit, I've got to log in again. Well, there's my email address. Everybody knows that anyway. And I think that's my password. There we go. We've got the bracket up. And we are getting to the nitty gritty. First thing to cover though is we've got this match that starts in 5 minutes between Albinario and Stub. But over on the winner's side,
Master Power, ULFCK,
a match
me_ASM_A.
all set up.
But why is your microphone still sounding as it is? I don't get it. Oh well,
it sounds
NVM.
fine. Sounds fine. It sounds as good as it's going to be. Anyway, Larry and Semi-Pro are in the hot seat match, and that match is going to take place on the 23rd of January
evening
at 7 PM. Now somebody tell me what day that is, because Saturday's the 21st, isn't it? No, what day is this? I'm losing track. This is the 19th.
Off 4. Hi all.
This is the 19th. Wednesday's the 20th.
Me_ASM_A.
First, Friday's
Saturday.
The 20th. Saturday, right. So Saturday night at 7 PM. That is a race to 200 to see who gets the final. But meanwhile, there's work to be done. We've got the match tonight between Albinario and Stub. That is it there, just about to start in about, well, 4 minutes time, assuming that Albinario arrives in at the last minute like he usually does. And then of course there's going to be one player moving forward and one player going out of the tournament tonight, and then there'll be one player coming over from that hot seat match. And if we look above here, we can see Cobra is already waiting, having come through in his last match there against McClarkey, and also
MRS_Bill. Hi everyone.
With 104 high run for the tournament for him, takes him into 3rd place in the top 10. But it looks like, it's beginning to look like
Deist Nomad. Mic sounds perfect.
That Semi-Pro's 179 is going to be hard to beat. Good evening everybody. Well, it can't be sounding any worse than my old mic. The reason for that is simple. And I'm talking about the old mic, not the problems I've had the last couple of days. I'm talking about the fact that now that I've got the proper drivers and the Realtek thingamajig reinstalled and working, this is as good as it gets on my PC without any other audio effects. I've got all the audio enhancements on Windows all switched off. They cause more problems than they're worth. So they're gone.
4. Sound is all good for me. Me_ASM_A.
Well, of course, the thing is, the
Call
sound,
me crazy, but your voice track sounded way better before.
well,
No
yeah,
idea.
you must be crazy. The reason is that it depends on how your PC is set up to how your audio sounds. I mean, it sounds fine to me. I've done enough testing this afternoon, and it sounds good. Much better than what it did. If you listen to a couple of those last videos I uploaded, you can hear the
Is
difference.
it 50? Sounds absolutely normal.
It's as normal as it's going to be. So anyway, Stub has been muted for the week as far as I'm
Deist
aware,
Nomad.
so there'll be no
Even through the
congratulations from Stub.
5.1 system, no more buzz.
Stub won't be congratulating Albinario, not that he will anyway. But the question is Stub going to stay to the end of the match if it goes the wrong way for him? We wait to see. Oh, Wizard Cheat's getting excited. He wants a game of one pocket. I think he's getting a bit impatient.
SM_A. Surprised face. Okay, I am overruled by majority.
Yeah, I think you're looking for absolute perfection, but I think perfection or better quality goes by much more expensive mics. But this is more than passable for what we're doing. I mean, if this was something going out to 3,000 in a live stream, then I'd have a lot more subscribers. Plus, then I could get better equipment. And until that day happens, which is going to be a long bloody time, we're stuck with what we've got, guys. So, what are we expecting tonight? Well, we're looking for one of these players to, first of all, get control of the match.
Rora. Pog 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 pog
Right,
pog
that's
pog
that
pog
going to
pog
fix.
pog 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 pog.
That's it gone. That didn't last long. Albinario's arrived. Arsehole is here. And the room is up. And players are in. We've probably missed the bloody lag because of that. No, we haven't. We're good to go. That might be Stub on the far side because his queue hasn't loaded. He's probably changed his queue again. But he's going to lose the lag because I don't believe that's Albinario on the top side, surely. And Albinario has won the lag. And Stub has been put into to break, and we saw what happens with Cobra's break. Cobra's break doesn't work because he's had two absolute duds in his last two matches. And Stub has had a brain fart and a half there. I don't know what the hell he thought he was doing there. But that's unbelievable if he's got that safe. No, he hasn't. I honestly haven't a clue what he thought he was doing with that break shot. And the weirdest thing is, it's very possible that he could be sat there for an hour and not have a shot. Well, it's just amazing what he played at a silly, stupid break. And well, I've said this before 100 times. Albinario has to make the most of this. He has to punish him for that. Almost blocked himself out in the 1. He's on the 9 though. Wrong angle in the 9 because it'd be a handy ball just to break those, but he's going to go. If he takes the 1, he's going to have to drop through for the 13 or the, what ball is it? Is that the 13? That one. Yeah, so the 13's in the bottom rail. It's as if Stub broke off there and forgot to put inside English in the cue ball if he was going to try and come into the back of the pack. I think he forgot what he was doing. Albinario is straight, but there's not much he can do if he's going to pot the 5. He obviously can take the 2 and the 5. He's trying to get the break. It'll be probably the 5 next. And if he gets up the table, he can take the 8. The 8 is sitting open. If he gets a good angle in the 8, he can then... he doesn't need to do anything, to be honest with you, because those balls are all open, but the problem's this little group of 4 just to the left. Now, what would be a break ball in that lot of balls there? Well, it's... I don't think you can commit yourself to a break shot here at the moment, the way it's sitting. No, what was that Miasma said? Can't mute or ban restream. No, it's the restream bot is actually for the multi-channel thing. It's nothing to do with the restream chat. That's a separate app that I run in the background. The only way that you can control who's in the chat is by an admin muting them, but you have to mute them before they start their bullshit. So, well, he's looking at the 1, but I would think he'd be more inclined to leave the 1 as a break ball, but it looks as if he set his mind on it, so the 4 ball would be it. Provided he can then, before he gets there, get out and take this 6 or 14 ball, and he's gone just a bit too far. I mean, he can still pot that 14. Yeah, it's definitely some arsehole. There's no way they would ever know that this channel is here if they weren't some half-wit from Virtual Pool 4 who just wants to act like a bloody 2-year-old kid. Well, it's going to be the 6 ball now, and the problem with the shot is he's brushing off the 14, and there's always a danger when you're hitting another ball that you don't really want to, because that's diverting the cue ball. So he's hitting it soft, trying to leave the 14 on, and he's going to have to roll the 10 in, and he may well have to go 2 rails to get on to this 4, unless he gets reasonably straight in the 14, where he's just going to play a straight draw. Yeah, I think, I can't remember who said it, but it was probably right enough that the restream, not the restream, the text-to-speech app was coming through that sound program that was using twice, which was why it was very echoey. I went and watched a bit of the stream after the match, and it sounded bloody terrible. So, so I'm not using that program anymore. I'm back to the normal Realtek high definition audio drivers for my mic and for my speakers, or basically for my headset. You know, whatever's coming through the PC is coming straight to my headset, it doesn't go anywhere else now. So here we go. Now Albinario could make this hurt big time for Stub, and Stub could have blown himself right out the water with 1 shot at the start of this match. I'm glad I've got that recorded, because that was one of the worst breaks in the tournament. I mean, okay, anybody else like Cobra who's tried tried the semi-pro break, and semi-pro's got it wrong once, and That's obviously trying to do something with the cue ball. What the hell Stub was trying to do there, God knows. That's got me bewildered. I haven't a clue what he was trying. But it's all up to Albinario. He can inflict as much pain as he can. The longer he can, the worse it will be for Stub. And the more pressure gets added to him, and the more likely he's going to flash at something sooner rather than later, and then just cause more damage. So Stub has to think on his feet, because if and when he does get a shot, he can't be doing desperate stuff. LS3 fell into that trap. I remember in her match, who was she playing? She wasn't out the match, but she played one break shot that she shouldn't have. It was really, really difficult. A big cutback, and that was her last shot of the match. Was it Albinario? It was Albinario she was playing. And Stub doesn't want to fall into that trap. It's very likely he will, though, because you know what he's like. He thinks he can pot everything. And it's only 60 odd, I think. I think he's second last in the list. I think he's 9th, and then there's Larry. It's something like that. He's certainly not high up the list, and Stubb's not far above him. I can't rightly remember. I posted it in the lobby. Scroll the lobby up and see if you can find it. It might still be there. Maybe I did that a while ago. I can't remember. In fact, no, I'll do it. I can do it. Just give me a sec to finish my drink and see whether I can still find it. I probably scrolled it away up miles and it's gone. Let's see. I think it's probably disappeared. Oh no, wait a minute, there it is. Right, so you get semi-pro at the top, Cobra second, Bedhead. So in the whole tournament there's only been 3 players have got to 3 figures in a run, and not the big run-outs like everybody thought. LS3 in 4th, Tommy U tied in 4th, Snake Eyes in 89. Well, of course, a lot of these players now can't change their place in the list because they're all out the tournament. Albinario's on 73, and Stubbs 72, and then there's Larry, and that's it. And meanwhile, Albinario is in the early stages, although having said that, he's got trouble immediately here because he's running out of options, and he's looking at the 6, 9, but none of them as they are any good for him to split these problem balls. The 8 ball isn't a problem, it will go, but the 11 and that 3 ball are the worry. Now, had he gone slightly more to the left on that 8 ball, he could have just drawn into that 3 and chipped it. He might be trying to do maybe too much here. I think he's more concerned about that 11 and 3 than he is about the pot here. And he's trying to fathom out a way to deal with it because he knows he's got very few options left. It's all about getting good on 1 ball to be able to get a chip on them, and I think he's gone too low in the 13. Yep, he was trying to get sort of square, or maybe someone like that on the 13. Not like that. Let me get my line better. Something like that, so he could just draw and chip that 3. So it's looking like this could all end fairly quickly unless he gets something done here. Now, is he looking for the billiard off the 9 with the 13? No. Now he's looking to get it from the 12. He's got the angle on the pot and he can just chip the 3 and just open them. But he's got to get lucky to get on one of them. At worst, if a cue ball finishes down there somewhere, he might have the 6-9 combo. So this is a critical point already in this run. He's surely got to play the break from here. I can't see him getting any other chances to do it. And it all depends what pace he's going to play it at, because you need the cue ball to react. Yeah, that was it. He's got a pace to give him a shot in that combo, and that's worked out not too bad. The only problem is he's got a combo left the other side. It isn't quite a combo, but it's going to be awkward to get to the 3. He's just going to have to stun a little tad off this 6. And if he finishes anywhere near a shot in the 3, he'll take the 3. Well, he hasn't really. I don't think he's thought of that, Albinario. He should have stunned that a bit more. He really wanted to try and get the cue ball to here from that shot. And he still has a chance off the 6 just to drag it in and not let that cue ball squirt away. Now if he's running up the table, I mean, if he doesn't think, I don't see any problem in dropping that 6 ball in, and he's putting inside English on it to check it. He doesn't really need to. He can just let it run soft. Well, he's trying to come below them to go on the 11. That's another way of doing it. And what's he like here? Now this is dangerous, because the angle that he's got to pot that 11 means that cue ball's running near that middle pocket. And that's a concern for him here. Even if he doesn't scratch, he might just hit the point. Well, he's leaving it difficult. And what's the space like there? He's going to be lucky he gets much on this. He might clip the 4. Whether he'll get enough momentum in it. He'll certainly bring the 1 out, or the 9, whatever it is on the other side there. The 9 will come out, because obviously they're all lying in a row in that back row of the balls there. But this is very, very thin. And that little kiss from the 2 has done him a big favour. That's left him in shape. Now he's got the ideal opportunity to get out on that 9. Just get it on a square line parallel with the 9 ball, and he can get into the cluster straight away. I don't see where there is a slight problem, but he just had to cheat it in to get there and not go to the rail. He's looking at the 6, which means he might be using the 14. Now those two balls there aren't set, that 14 and 15, but now he can do damage. So the run is 31, and all of this coming from Stubbs' attempted break shot, which nobody knows what he tried to do. Well, we've got one problem remaining. We know that those 2 balls aren't a combo into this corner. And they're certainly not a combo up the table anywhere. I mean, you look at that 10, not the 10, the 15, the bloody 12, I'll get it right yet. That might go in off the jaw. It's looking like it's going there, but it may well go in off the jaw at pocket pace. Well, he's looking to just take care of it straight away, and that was a good idea. Now it's about leaving the break ball, wherever it might be, and looking at the triangle. We've got the 5 ball there at the bottom corner on the right. We've got the 13 in a good position. He can take out the 12, take out the 8, but he's got to then deal with these at this side. Now obviously those balls there, the 7, the 1 and the 11 are fine if you're this side and you've already got rid of the 9 ball, but where he's sitting now is no good. Well, I don't know whether he was it's hard to say whether he specifically played for the 13 or just tried to roll through a bit for the 5, because he's overhit it, but the assumption is he's played directly for the 13. So that then means that the obvious break ball from that side of the table is now gone. And again, he still hasn't got over to that other side. He can do it now. Round behind the 1. Needs to watch the pace. Well, he's gone too far. Can he see enough of the 7? I think he can. Oh yes, he can get that in. And now he has the break shot, but he has the problem of the 11 ball, which again, from the 2, the danger with that, not the 2, the 10, the danger with this shot is if he was to run up the table for the 11, the danger is hitting it too hard and running over behind the 8 ball. He doesn't want to do that. He wants to get this right. You see it's heading right up towards the 8, but he's got the pace right. And he's, well, whether he takes the 11 or the 8 right now doesn't matter. But it's going to leave him to get rid of this 11. And then he's going to have to either go 2 rails, or if he's got a decent angle, just stun up the table. This is it's a wee bit shallow. He may well still go to the right here, and the pace needs to slow up, and that will do. So again, not too much juice on it, but enough to get away from the pack. It's always good to be hitting those 2 corner balls at the bottom. But he's taking his time. The run goes to 42, and just half a tip and a firm stun, and that cue ball should just squirt away far enough but not whizzing around up the table. It's incredible how things go, isn't it? I mean, he's left with an ugly setup here. Okay, he can cut the 8 ball, but he's running away up the table. He's looking for anything that's set there. There's nothing doing. So he's even contemplating the 14 ball, but in all honesty, it's got to be the 8. And if he doesn't get good in the 9, he's bound to be on the 11, coming out into the middle of the table. He's not got a lot of choices. And the problem, well, that's why he's decided he doesn't like the 8, because the cue ball's running too much. And look what's happened now. He's now dead and buried, I think. Yep, Yeah, he probably should have taken the 8 and took the risk to get into the open, because he can't see the 15 and he can't play a safety behind the cluster because the 8 ball's there, and now he's looking at the bank. Well, he's too close to read this bank. This is going to be extremely tough. He has to cut right across that 4 ball to even get it to the point on the rail that he wants to make the bank on. I think he's looking at it. Well, I think he needs to go a lot more than that to make the bank. Maybe my eyes are deceiving me. Yeah. And he's left Stub in. It was always going to be the case, so Stub now has his opportunity to reply. Albinario's run ends on 44, but it's suitable enough punishment. But it could have been a lot more though. But how does Stub respond? Well, already this is a vital visit for Stub. And we'll see how much this cue ball travels. Well, it's certainly going to be doing a bit of travelling. Well, he's made that situation slightly worse, because the 6 ball doesn't go, although he's got the 15 ball that he can use to get into them. Now he's looking to pot that now. He must have checked the 2 then to see if it goes, and it does go. He'd probably be better leaving that 15 ball there for the time being, and take care of other business first, because he can get onto that 15 from any of those balls up the table. He might take the 6 now that he's on it. It's just one less ball to get out of the cluster, so if you're on it, get rid of it. And the problem, of course, also is that there's no break ball there, although the 15 ball may be it. But he has to... He can pot the 11, which is nearest the camera, when he's got rid of the 6, and he can drop down for the 12 into that middle pocket, and that opens up the 2, and it leaves the 15 there as a break shot. So if he's thought ahead, that's what he should be doing. But he has to get good in the 12 so that he's not going to be running into the 2. He's looked at it. I'm assuming that's what he's looking at. So he's going to finish low on the 12 so he can just run it in. It then opens the 2, and that 1 ball's in a good position to pot it down this rail into this pocket here where we are, and then take the 2 out and still leave the break ball. So that's the plan. I can't see any other plan coming to fruition here. It's got to be that. So it could end up being that the last ball to get on that 15 is going to be the 2. Because you're going to take the 5 ball, take that 9 ball into the right middle, but he's not. He may well have to change tact here because he's way too high in this 9 ball. And he's going to have to start letting the cue ball run. Yeah, this is dodgy. He'd probably be better taking the 1 right now. And if he can get good off the 2 up for the 9, that'll maybe give him a better chance to get himself well placed on the 15. Well, it's going to be, if he draws off the 9 with the angle he's got, he could be drawn to sort of here in this area. That's a sort of dodgy looking square. But that might be where he'll finish, somewhere within that box, I would think, to leave that angle on the 15. Well, he's trying to get there from the bottom rail. He obviously didn't think he could hold it by just drawing off it at a dead weight pace. So he's got the break shot. The run goes to 12. Now let's see how he plays it. What's he doing? Well, he's got loads of top on it right now. Oh, that's a mug shot. That is a mug shot if ever I've seen one. I mean, unbelievable. Stub is so gullible that has he not watched any of these streams? You cannot put top on the cue ball at that angle. It's just going to squirm off the pack and go through. And that's the numpty shot of the tournament right there. Unbelievable. I mean, a terrible break shot to start the night. And then he has sold himself down the river with that shot there. And he has not got himself into the match. And he's given Albinario a chance to deliver even more pain and punishment. And, well, if Albinario inflicts another 40-odd run on here, Stubbs under the cosh. Although Albinario's doing his best to get himself in trouble. What's he got here? He's going to have to... Well, I know he's on the 14. It's a bit awkward, but he's got it. As soon as I looked at his cue tip on that cue ball and he's going forward, you know, it's just not... You can't take the risk when you're chasing the game like that. You've not even got yourself into the match. You cannot take that risk. And it was just such a gullible shot. You know, play the shot you shouldn't play, and he's just fell straight into the trap. He sold himself there, and he wasn't listening. Well, I don't know what voice Stub has in his head, but it's not one to tell him don't do that, because he's not listening to it anyway. But the little voice in my head, the alarm bells are ringing straight away looking at that set up for that shot. And, well, let's see what the outcome's going to be here. But the thing is that his last 3 or 4 balls in that visit that he had, he was forced into taking them in a different order than would have been ideal by not finishing good on that 9 ball in the middle pocket. He was high on it, and that meant that he had to run the cue ball. Had he got straight on it, it was much easier. And that's really what got him out of line and didn't get him ideal on the break ball. He was playing it from distance, right at the top of the pack, and he could have easily stunned that and done enough to knock something out without running forward to try and improve situations. Because, you know, I mean, we've seen it over and over and over again. I've seen, 30 matches or whatever in this tournament. I've seen far too many guys fall into that trap. You've got to just get that cue ball so that you are controlling it from the break. The worst thing that can happen is it gets a kick, but you don't want to self-inflict something on yourself that he's just done. Totally self-inflicted. Well, guys, just give me a vote for what cloth colour you have, because I was looking at the cloth colours earlier on this afternoon to see if there was any better contrast on the table with a black triangle, and the purple one's actually quite a good contrast, so it is. But it should be white lines. If Steve ever listened to us, he listened fairly quickly with the snooker ones. He got that done quick, but he can't be arsed doing it for the pool table, and it should be white lines. Well, Albinario's got to think that Stub is only 44 behind at the moment. He wants to make this a much more significant visit to make things very difficult for Stub. And let's be honest, two of the shots we've seen tonight from Stub have been awful. And his main failing, as it's always been, is letting that cue ball run loose far too often, letting it travel too much, and not keeping it under more tighter control. And he'll always fall short if he keeps doing it. And Albinario's he's left it way too short again. You don't want to leave them like that. You want to get parallel at worst, or slightly inside, but when you go way inside, you then get far too much thinking to do with this cut. Okay, he's going to hit the pack, but this is just sticking himself under pressure by not getting there. And of course it's going to be a feast for Stub if he doesn't get the pot. He's going to give Stub a free go here. Big shot coming up. The visit is 14. And the cue ball's free. He's got the 9 at the back of the cluster. That will do. That has worked out not too bad, but he wants to work on getting a better line for the break shot and not putting himself under as much pressure to dig out those pots. Oh, I've started yawning, guys. Apologies. I can't help it. The brain just kicks in at this time. Or shuts down at this time. So, planning ahead here. If that 13 ball goes out the way, because again, we're talking about getting rid of problem balls. The 13 is a blocking ball. It blocks the possibility of the 5 ball getting potted and that cluster getting opened. So, Albinario needs to get himself around this side somehow. And I mean, he can do it off the 4. He might get lucky. He might just find his way into that gap between the 9 and the 13. And if he gets the right pace, he'll be on another ball if he doesn't get good on the 13 to get rid of it. So he'll have an escape route, or at least he should have. But it's worthwhile maybe trying to just get into that little window. Just in there, in this gap here. Just come through there. Well, look at the path the cue ball's going. I mean, why he didn't hit it any harder, I don't know. He's trying to do it off the 2. But the line that he had there with the cue ball was perfect. Just to run into that gap or just beyond it and leave the cut and get rid of the 13. See, now when he pots the 2, he's going to run into the cluster. If he'd gone higher, he wouldn't have this risky shot to take. He's not doing it again. Cue ball running dangerously loose. Well, it's amazing how my brain works and how the guys that are playing are thinking, because to me it was well worth playing the shot. Excuse me, I've got hiccups. Every time I drink water I get hiccups after my dinner. I don't know how that happens, but I start getting hiccups. Yeah, my mind was telling me I've got the angle to get into that little gap, and if I play it at the right pace, I'll get rid of the 13 ball and I can use the 5. But he's got it. Panic over. The cluster's been dealt with, and the bonus is that the 5 ball hasn't moved. I don't think, or has it? Yes, it has. I don't know whether that's, I mean, I presume that's still out. I don't know how this works. I mean, the bottom of the ball is outside the line, but the ball itself looks as if it's inside the line. So if it's not the 5 ball, it could be the 6. It could also be the 11. So he has a choice. And it's always good to have that choice, because obviously we know things can happen. You get the wrong little kiss on a ball, can knock you square off line of where you were going. Albinario now on 21, and the lead is 54. And bearing in mind Stubbs' high run for the tournament is what, 72. He's going to have to pull out a big one if he's going to get back in the match, if he gets another shot at the table. Well, you know how, I mean, traditionally, you know, people say, well, you've got the hiccups, well, take a drink of water while you're standing in your head or something daft like that, or just basically take a drink. But I have a drink of water, and then the next thing I know, I've got the hiccups. Well, what have we got? We've got the 8 ball, which is as good as anything, and it's either in or out. I think it's okay, but it's tight. You see, when the ball is really tight against the pack, you've got to get really good on it. It makes it much more difficult. Now, Albinario killing the cue ball as he's trying to get it into the triangle. Nope, he's going up the table for the break. And just as I thought, the 5 was in the triangle. He should have left the cue ball in the triangle then. Now he's got to play the 5, or you know, or try and just lock onto the pack. He's got 2 choices. He can cut the 5 to the left rail so it goes to the top rail, and he can try and come down the table. But he's going to have to play a good one if he's going to try and hide that 5 ball. Or is he going for a blast? Is he going around the angles? Yeah, he's not got the pace. It's not a bad safety though, if that's where he finished. But he didn't call the safety, and he probably should have, because that's pretty good. So Albinario's run ends on 29. The first visit was what, 44 was it? And well, Stub needs to keep these tight. He's got to get them very thin. Now Albinario can risk playing off the 1 ball. If he gets it very thin, the worst that's going to happen is he's going to send this 8 ball to the bottom rail and maybe out, but he won't leave it on if he gets it really thin in the 1. But that's just as good. Could have done with another foot on it, but the shot for Stub has got again to be really thin. He's looking at the shot I was talking about, but it has to be wafer thin not to bring that 8 ball into play. Yeah, it was only ever going to go to the bottom rail. That's a good shot. Again, could have done with another foot on it. Now let's have a quick look at this pack, just in case. There's nothing that side, and there's nothing happening there. And everything's blocking one another. So once again, a very thin clip. That's the shot. That is a shot. That's how thin you have to get them to get the length. And that's much better. Really, really thin. Is as much as you're trying to miss the pack than you're actually trying to hit the pack. And just catch that little edge. Makes this shot much more difficult for Stub. You see, he's brought a ball out, and the commentator's always right. It draws the mistake, and that had to be much thinner. And it's given Albinario another go, and Stubb's fallen into the trap there, but the good length and the safety proves my point. I go on like a broken record every time in this straight pool tournament. Get the length. If you get the length, then the opponent's next shot is not easy. And Albinario has his reward. He's got a start. Now what's he looking at? Because obviously he's got the 8, and if he leaves the angle in the 8, then he can maybe chip 1 or 2 here, because he's not got much else to work with. Well, he's maybe looking to just go through in the 1. Let's have a look at that. See, that 1 has plenty of room when you're looking at it right like that. But see, whenever you're up here or you're down here with the cue ball, it ain't easy. You can see it clean and it goes. Now, what's he doing here? Oh, he's dropped onto the 11. He's got to read the angle. And he's going to probably skim off the 6, maybe. Yeah, he hasn't hit that hard enough. And, well, Stub will be relieved that it's only 3. And surely Albinario is not going to be taking the bait here with this 9 ball. This is calling out for a half-decent safety rather than this. He's got the lead. You don't want to give him any chance to get going. There's times you have to wind yourself in here. And I certainly wouldn't be going for this. Now, he called the 13, so that's a missed call. Or was it? Oh no, that's the 9 out at the table. He did call the 13. Well, that's excellent. I'm looking at the ball that was rolling about there and I thought it was the 13. It's a bloody 9. The 13 did go into the corner. Excellent shot. Got myself bloody confused there looking at focusing on that cut. Well, I didn't spot that, I have to say. He definitely caught me napping there. And that is a bonus. A big, big bonus. What about this 9 ball? Well, that 9 ball's awkward. It's not set as a combo with a 15. Now, what with the angle on the 6 for a little nudge into them. Perfect. Just a little brush. Anything will do. He's got to improve the situation. And he's going to be hampered, but it's a straightforward roll through in the 14. Now, where's the break ball though? Now you see, that 2 ball could still be used as a break ball if he left the cue ball in the triangle with ball in hand. That, I think it's a 15 ball in the side rail, that's no good. That doesn't serve any advantage to him where it's lying. So this is looking grim for Stub. Well, the 1 ball for break, I think, would only be out of desperation, because the problem with the 1 ball is where it is in relation to the back of the pack. It's very tight, so the room for manoeuvre around it is very little. That's no bloody good as a line, that, for God's sake. That's the back of the pack there. And the only way you can make that angle for the pot is by finishing here. These sort of angles. So it's a narrow window to get good on that 1 ball. You know, if he underhits it, he's got a great big cutback. And that is probably as good as he could ever expect there. That's actually well played, because it makes it much more difficult to get it nice and sweet on a good line. So no worries about hitting the pack. The big concern here is how much pace he's putting in it, and whether that's just going to pop off the pack and run into the corner. No, he's run up the table and he's kissed that 15, and that cue ball might have been heading towards the middle there. He won't care. It's all about just staying at the table by hook or by crook and just adding to that score. And this is turning into Stubbs' worst nightmare, and it's all been self-inflicted. Albinario's just gone through the motions here, picking off what's there, seeing if he can progress. And of course, Albinario is now halfway home, and Stub is a mile away. And he's going to pull off a major run out if he's going to have any semblance of staying in this tournament. And that's not worked out. He's stunned, solid and locked. And he's now got a dodgy 7 ball into the middle. A wee bit easier 15 ball. And he's got to be careful with this though, because if he just rolls on to the 12, oh no, that 7 goes past the 14. I was panicking there for him. Well, he's missed the 12, and he's now okay. Now, if he could get inside either this, well, not so much the 6, but the 14 would allow him to try and get into that pack. He might run forward if the angle's good in the 12. Let's have a look. Well, it might be worth it. Does he want to risk putting loads on it? He could just lock up against another ball doing it from this distance, because the cue ball's got to have a lot of pace in it to open things from here. Well, he's not taking that risk now. Did he try to finish low in that 13 ball? He can still cut it and he can still run into them, but again, he needs a fair bit of pace. He can't be too gentle with this. See, oh, he's lucky again. He is lucky. When the balls are tight, they're a solid wall and they'll hold that cue ball up. But he's on the 11. I don't like... How far is he away from that 9? Oh, he's fine. Now, what have we got is a break shot again. Well, the 2 ball's no good. The 5's awkward at the top of the pack. Everything else there's no good. It may well be... It could be the 14 still. 6 ball is again very low in relation to the pack. So there's not a lot of choices. Now, Albinario's contributions have been, what, 44? That last visit was 20 odd. This one's 20 odd and counting. And this is what is so important about each visit you get, that you do get good contributions. And Larry's found his feet there in his last 2 matches. That's why Albinario is here. And that's also why Cobra's on this side, because Larry has scored very well at the right time. And I think it's too much to ask Stub to be consistent enough to put together such a big run to rescue this situation should he get a chance. I think he's way over his head here. It's going to be a tall order. Now, yeah, he can cheat the pocket, no problem. He's looking at the 5. And the worry is that he just brushes that 6, and that's enough. That is just enough to put that 14 ball offline, but it will go when you look at it from there. And now he is committed. It's going to be the 6 ball. So, all to do with the angle he has in the 4 as to how simple it's going to be just to draw up the table or run through on a rail and come out into the table. One of the two. Little drop, about 6 or 7 inches up the table, and that'll do. Again, is he going to open them, or is it going to lock solid on something? If you worry about it, you hit it far too hard, the cue ball could squirt off and go anywhere. See how solid those balls are? Just like a brick wall. And he's looking at the 4, and I think it might have to be the 4. No, can he get the 9? He certainly can. Try to improve it slightly, but not a lot done. Now, I think he's got a good enough angle. If he can get lucky and get on that 4, he needs to keep running though. The 5 ball's no good to try and break the pack from there because the 4's in the way and he's not gone far enough on the 4. And the other problem is he may well have to take evasive action so he doesn't run into the 5. And he may well try and get out into the table to play that 5. Well, he has to because there's nothing else on. But he has to avoid the 5. So now he has the angle. There's nothing set. Although let's have a closer look at this 13. The question is whether you can see enough of it, but the other worry is that 15 ball just preventing it get there. So he's got the break, but where did the cue ball go? Into the hole. Unbelievable. I keep saying unbelievable because I can't believe it. Every time. And, well, here we go. Albinario's run ends in 30, and Stub is a mile behind with ball in hand. Well, this will be the comeback of the tournament if ever I've seen one. And it's not beyond him, but he's going to have to really, really get this cue ball on a wire. And he's got the problem. He can get just through. Well, he could have got through the other side for the 13 there. Into that middle pocket. Plenty of room to get to the 13 had he run through far enough. Although the 13 being so adjacent to the 2 can't be a break ball. Because one of them's going to move out of position. Can he get enough of the 2? I think he can. Yes, he can. So the break ball is there. But he's out of line. He's having to run around again. And this is the problem. His tighter cue ball control is what he needs. And that's what his weakest link is. By having to run the cue ball off various rails to try and get there. And, well, he's trying to drop right through for the 12. He's way high on it. And now it's about the pace and getting that line. So he's going to have to go 2 rails here, I think. Which is what you never want to be doing. Now this time, let's see what he's going to do with this cue tip. It's a stun. Why he didn't do that the last time he was at the table is beyond me. I don't understand it. But he played that with just a straightforward stunt. And has he been unlucky? No, he's on the 7. And he's got balls to work with here. Well, this is where Stub's got to stay absolutely, totally focused and be 100% sure on where he's going next. Again, he needs to take his time. Well, not only would it be if he runs 40, it'd be a surprise. If he runs 40, it's no good. I mean, this is exactly the time he needs to pull out all the stops. He needs the big one. He needs to get beyond his high run for the tournament on this visit. Absolutely no chance if he falls well short. Or Albinario's got to fall apart. One of the two. So there's just the problem of dealing with the 11 ball, but these balls are all wide open, so it's all about just the pattern and picking off what's the troublesome ball. And he's got himself in an awkward setup here, locking up to an open ball, having to take evasive manoeuvres here. 6 balls, the escape route. And Stubbs not even halfway to his 40. Run is only 18. And all of a sudden, when he looks at the scoreboard, 103 looks an awful lot away in the distance. And he's just gone out of line again there a wee bit. Having to play the 2 up the table now. He wanted to finish good in that 5. He could still take it obviously, but then he's running into what potentially is his break ball. Well, it's going to be that 1 ball will be the break shot. He's got a good ball in the 3 ball to go on the 1. Now he's taken that 3 ball. The 3 ball would have been perfect to get good in the 1. It means he's going to have to get good on that last ball, or he's going to have to run a couple of rails again, or stun down off the bottom rail and back up. And this is where he might be going wrong, is by not leaving that easy ball to get on the break ball and give you almost certainty that you will have a shot. Well, that's tight because he's got to make the cut angle again. It's just leaving himself far too much to do to be comfortable. And he's going to clip the 15, but he's going to thump this, I think, because he's got to get some action to release something. Well, that 15 ball has come to the rescue because he's done absolutely nothing without that 15 ball. And he's going to have to run through on it, I think, to make sure he can get to the 5. Now what's he spotted here? Because he's short in the 5. There's nothing else on. He's going to have to cut this 5. And he's going to have to play the 13 or the 9 next. And this is a little nervy one. What's he looking at? He's looking at... There's nothing there that's on. Got to be the 5. Now, 2 balls, 2 straight. But if he rolls through for the 3, the 3 ball should be what he's looking for here. And that's pretty good. He should do some damage here. Well, that's stunned and stalled. Once again, he's only got 1 ball to really go for, the 7. And now this could go badly wrong if he plays any sort of draw to avoid things here. He doesn't want to spin off the 11 and roll along the pot into the pocket. Yeah, he's played it delicate, but it's locked onto it, so he's going to have to play up the table. It was a wee bit fiddly. The run goes to 30, and he is still 62 points behind. I still can't go over the break shot he played. If anybody didn't see Stubbs' break shot, you need to watch the start of the match when this is all over, because that was amazing. The most confusing break shot I've ever seen in this tournament, because I don't know what the hell he tried. It does not become apparent as to what he tried there in the break shot. It looked as if he hit the ball when he didn't intend to. So he's got a major issue here. Big issue is that ball there, and that ball there is not exactly nailed to the rail, but it's in such an awkward position. And running out of balls. He has a break ball, but he's got to get rid of the 15 and the 2 somehow. So there's alarm bells ringing for the progression here. So he's going to deal with the 12, but is he wanting to go high enough for that 13? I think he should take the 13 now. He might never get any better on it. You've got to take what you get here. He may well not finish any better on that 13. Has to take it now. It's not a difficult cut from there. But if he's relying on getting good on it again, he might never get near it. Well, we'll see if this works out, because he should have taken it. Again, the reason I say that is because it's always in the back of your mind. You can't concentrate on the rest of the work until you've dealt with that problem ball. And now he's going to try and take it from probably further away. Well, he's finished good on it. And now it's either down onto the bottom rail or just down far enough to take the 2. But once again, the 2 ball would be a good ball to get on the break ball. And this time he's got another problem, because he's gone way short on the 11 and he's out of shape. And now he's going to have to rethink, because that's what he was planning to do. Get rid of the 11, roll the 2 in and get good in the 4, and now it's all changed. the two's right at the head of the pack, so he could be playing it from the side, because it's as good a break shot from here to cut it and run into the pack that way. But remember, that ball from the head of the pack is missing, so the actual pack itself is like here. It's not quite as cut and dried as it looks, so it's going to be from the back of the pack. He's checked the cue ball to give him the high angle, but he's right on the rail more or less, and he's got to jack up here. Well, he's not jacking up. He needs to make sure he catches that 5. Well, he is now. And he's run off the corner, and that's good. Keeps him in play. The run goes to 39. Stub now 53 points behind. Now, does he risk taking the 3 from that angle? Trying to get into the cluster. There's nothing set in them. Well, that's brought 1 out, but it hasn't really improved it much. It's just as bad as before. So he's looking at another way to get there. Is that Sylvia seen enough? She gone? Again, the adjacent balls are the balls that give you the best chance of getting a breakout on this cluster. He's taking the 5 ball. If he takes a 15 and rolls through, he can play like a break shot off the 5 into the cluster. And he hasn't seen it. He has not seen it. It was a simple shot. Take the 15, just roll through and leave what would be like a normal break shot you would play, maybe from just slightly inside, and cut that 5 into the corner and then get into the cluster. So that's one good opportunity that's gone. And of course now there's not an adjacent ball to get to that cluster. Not really. He could be digging a hole for himself here. And he might get digging right into this and try it from this. But you've not really got things under control so much with this shot. Look at the cue ball. What did I tell you guys? Commentator's eye. He should have done what I told him. Roll the 15 in, roll through past the 6, leave that break ball to get into the cluster from the 5. And the run ends on 42, and Sylvia should have stayed. And that's where it all went wrong, because you hit the bottom of the pack. That's the angle you're going to run off and scratch from, and that is painful, because all of these are Albinarios. And that 15 ball was there, like that, and the 5 ball was there. Now, had he run the 15 in and run through to say there, he had his pot in the 5 and the stun into the cluster. Much safer, and he didn't see it. Or he did see it, but paid it no attention, and he's paid the price, and he may well pay the price big time now, because Albinario has got a good start here. He may well have to work with the 2-ball as well as a break shot, but he is only 45 away from ending Stub's participation in this event. And I wonder if Stub will admit where he went wrong and admit that I'm right. Do you think he'll do that? The commentator called the shot he should have taken. He didn't take it. Went in a much more dangerous route, and the end result, well, you didn't need to be a mind reader or a soothsayer or whatever you call them to predict the future there when it hit the back of the pack or the back of the cluster. And it's amazing that this match all went wrong right at the start for Stub. Well, even before the start, the first major failing was a poor lag, and then being put in, and then that amazing break that he played. And he'll keep wondering why he's fallen short, and he's the only one that can't see what his major problem is in mixing it in at the business end of the tournaments. Well, the last big final he was in was that match against Vinces, which he could have won. I mean, it was an amazing finish. Stub had a thin cut and a 7-ball, I think, looking from this bottom end of the table into that top left hand corner. It was a difficult cut, and he went for it, and he got it. He could have won that tournament, but it didn't work out. But since then, he ain't been there. And Albinario, well, he's brought a ball out, but he left himself pretty straight, and he's going to have to baby this in and just roll off the bottom rail and up. Now, if he goes too far, he won't have the 3, he'll only have the 7. So he's got to just get this dead weight off the rail and out to this side for the 7. If he finishes square, that would be ideal. Well, he's gone too much the wrong side, so I would say cut and run. Take your 7-ball and run to the long grass. He's looking to spot something. But there I've got the hiccups again. Well, I still think he should have just potted it. You know, he's got a difficult safety. Because again, he's playing from distance. He's put himself in trouble here. Now, if he hits the 15 and scratches, no damage done. He's played it well. The only thing that was wrong was just the pace. Another foot on that, it would have been ideal. So Albinario, the run of 12, takes him 35 away, and another such a poor shot by Stub. I mean, he's hitting that pack like a sledgehammer, and it's got to be as light as a feather. And his touch is really poor on these clusters. If you get the distance, and even that wasn't the best safety shots by Albinario. It was still a foot and more from the from the top rail, or the bottom rail as you play the table, but top rail as we look. But even that was enough to give Stub problems in getting it thin. Now Albinario, is he going to be aggressive and go for the 3? Or is he going to hide? I think I'd be still hiding. It's an easy safety, and he can get good length on it this time. Oh, that's well on the cards. Oh, yes. Well on the cards. Once Albinario gets to within the last 10 points and the balls are open, he'll be out the door. Be very surprised. Well, nothing was called there, so that will be a missed call. He did play the ball up the table. But it ain't over till it's over, folks. And Albinarius didn't listen to me that time. He should have played the safety. He's got his man where he wants him. I think that Albinario doesn't want to be regretting that shot he played there. He should have just skimmed off it and run to hide up in the far end of the table. It was so simple. And he's going for the finishing line when he should be going for common sense. If you've got him down, make sure he stays down. Don't give him any sniff. It should be the same rule for any opponent in any match, any type. If you have them down, don't give them any encouragement. Just put your foot across their neck and inflict more agony. And Stubbs got a break ball, but can he get there? That's the question. Because his choice of shots to get to break balls has been poor. His safety's been poor. His break shot was poor. And he's been given a lifeline. And he shouldn't have had it. And it's all too possible that Stub could get on a run, and Albinario will have a big regret. He could pay the price big time. Stubbs exactly the guy that wants to, he just wants to do it, and he's left himself dead straight pretty much in the 15, and that is as good as you could expect. Well, it might go close. There's every possibility it can. I mean, if Stubbs played bad at the start of the match and he runs out at the end of the match, who's Albinario got to blame? No one but himself. He had him on the ropes. The referees already gave him 2 standing counts. And Albinario has not... He's tried to finish him off too soon. He should have waited until the end of the round, went back to his corner, took a breather, and made sure that he was ready to carry on by playing a good safety. And there's there's issues to deal with here again for Stub. Again, it's just... I mean, it was such a difficult shot. I mean, these pockets, again, will gather a ball, but when you're cutting them at such an angle and so close, and the cue ball's going right into the pack, you've got the easier alternative. Why he didn't play it, I just don't understand it. you're no less of a man because you're playing the game to the proper way to play it, and that's play a decent safety when you know that the percentage is that the worst possible scenario is you're going to miss and you're going to leave him in. You're going to leave him 3 points. And I think Albinario, in all honesty, should have showed a bit more respect to Stub in that sense. I don't care who you're playing. You just don't want to give them any encouragement. But there we go. Stubb's blown it. That needed to be much more solidly hit, and he's locked up. And now he's going to have to just lose a point here. Now this shot here could be Stubb's last one, unless he can dig out the kick. Now, he's got a margin of error here if he goes to the bottom rail first. If he goes to the bottom rail first, he can kick it in easier than going direct, and that's a good shot. And he's landed on whatever it is, the 12. So he's escaped there. And he's going to have to play the 8-2 combo. It's not difficult, as long as he can get on it. He might try and run into them. You see, he might try and improve situations that he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to disturb the 8 and the 2. He just needs to get on it. Now, the easiest way of doing that is by taking the 7 and leaving it more open. But that 11 ball might get in the way. So he's got to be careful. Oh, that was just the weight of the ball, took it over the edge there. Now I think now's his best chance, just to play that combo, get the problem out of the way. This is simple enough to get done. And what about the break ball? Well, there's nothing there. There's nothing that's good. He would need to be really tight to the rail for that to be a good break ball, or he would need to be up here. But he's going to take it. And now looking at the 8 ball, again it's pretty tight to the back of the pack. Again, leaving a narrow margin to fit that cue ball into to get the break. And he won't get a better opportunity than this though, because he's got nothing much to do with the cue ball other than make sure he gets himself in line. Well, of course that's gone wrong because he's run into the triangle. And Stub wasn't expecting that, believe me. And neither was I for that matter. But again, he should be playing safe. Now Stub's safety off this pack. He doesn't want to risk it. I think he's had his fingers burnt once too many. And that is another poor one. Now, he's just covered the 9. I don't see anything in the pack. Now, Albinario, he should just lock on to those balls there and leave Stub to take the risky 15 ball. He'll probably try and bank it if he did that. But is Albi going to take the bait himself? He's eyeing up the 15. He's eyeing it up for the cut. Now, if he plays the cut, he's going to run into the 9, I think. And he might not have a shot to follow. Again, he should have played safe. But he's got away with it, I think. But Stub might well go hell for leather here on this 8 ball. The 8 cuts. He's going to run into all the balls. And this is an all or nothing shot. But Stub is edging closer. And he could be closer still if this works out. Big shot this. Big pocket as well where the 15's sitting. And my goodness me, did he not need that 9 ball sitting there? Did I say the 15 or something? I can't remember. But anyway, he used everything on that pocket. Cut it right into the rail. And if that 9 ball wasn't there, there was no way it was going in. But more importantly for Stub, he's still at the table. Now again, I think he tried to run into the 12 there to leave himself in the 11, possibly, if he got lucky, and he would have been able to pot the 3 ball. Why am I getting my numbers mixed up here? But he could have played that 3 and run into the pack there, but he's going to have to find another way, and he's running out of shots again. Because there's not anything there that goes. There's nothing set. The 7 doesn't go. There's nothing goes there, and he's only got 2 balls to work with. And neither of them are sitting good. So he's only got 3 from this visit. He's going to have to do something big time off this 1 ball. And all of a sudden, Albinario is maybe beginning to break out in a sweat when it should have been all so comfortable. Had he played the right safeties when he should have. Now, does the 6 ball go? Well, the 6 ball goes, he's got to go for it now. I mean, he's on the 6 ball, he's going to go for the 3 to get the break, but the 6 ball's not difficult, and he's definitely going to disturb them. Well, he's going to leave himself another awkward one, locked onto the 5 this time. I don't know why he didn't take the 6. It was a far more comfortable shot to just nudge them open than going from the rail into them, because you're still locking into balls that are pretty close together. And always the danger of the cue ball just going to freeze. And all the time, he's still got that problem sitting right where his cue ball is. The 14 and the 7. But if we look at the 14 and the 7, well, they're set. So no panic there then. If he's already looked at that, he can deal with that. Now, he might take the 5. Because he knows that he's got a combo. Now, if he gets rid of the 5, Well, there's no advantage to doing that because the 7's in the triangle anyway, so it's no good there sitting as a break ball. However, the 11 is, so that's him now set. He's got the combo that he can get rid of. He can take the 14 there anyway. So he's looking good to progress here into the next rack. And Albinario, remember, he could have just skimmed off that 5 ball. I think it was a 5. Right adjacent to the pack. He could have skimmed off it, off the left rail as we look, and right into that kitchen as nearest to that middle diamond in the top rail. It was such an easy shot, but he went for a really difficult cut at close range where he was going to split the whole pack and go for the match, when he should have wound his neck in and kept it tight. And Stub edges closer still. The run is only 11, but he is not far behind. And now Stubb's got the bit between the teeth. He's been given the encouragement he needed. Albinario served it in a plate, but he's now in prime position. Although again, the ball that he's been forced to take would have been the good ball to get good on the break shot. And again, he's leaving himself more work to do and more travelling to do. Now, he wants to be dead straight in this one. If he is, he's perfect. That's pretty good. And once again, needs to watch that Q-tip just below the equator and a good firm stunt. So not a lot of fizz going on. Cue ball bounced off the pack and he's off and running. And all of a sudden, the alarm bells are ringing. And Stub can taste blood. And as I said earlier, had Albinario paid a wee bit more respect and played the common sense shot, he wouldn't be in this position. He's almost sold this match from such a strong position. 103 points, was it, to 11 or something? Or then, they went to 64 or whatever. But Albinario has been stalled since he hit the 3 figures. And it has all been self-inflicted for him. The start was a nightmare for Stub. All his own doing. And now Albinario has more or less put his head on the chopping block here. And I don't think Albinario will have a good night's sleep after this. That's threatening to go pear-shaped big time. And the break ball is there. And that's the one to avoid. Don't go near that. And you've got your break ball. The problem is these 3 balls in a row here that he needs to get on something. And, well, again, that 7 balls too tight from that side. And he's called the combo, the 2-1. But he's now going to probably play over the 2 and take the 7. Can he? Oh, he's got the wrong angle on the 7. I thought if he had a good angle, he'd just open that cluster there, but he's going the wrong side of the 7. Well, it looks like the 5 ball he's going to have to use. So now it's another option. It's either the 3 or the 2. Or he could create a break ball. Well, again, that's fine as long as it's the other side of those 2 balls. So that would then mean that the 3 ball may have to go. He's going to have to pinch a bit in this 12 ball if he's going to run around. Well, he certainly, unless he wants to draw this and play the 14. Now I don't know what he's doing. But that 14, it goes. It could play the 3, but he has, at that distance, it's such a difficult shot to just drop it in and stay out. Well, now he's got it from that side. The kiss and the 2 probably means that it's going to end up in a break ball. Well, Stub has now got to 3 figures. He's only 15 behind. The run is 24, but that doesn't matter what the run is. It's as long as the run keeps going. Well, the biggest break shot of the match is about to come, but he's going to have to get down here. And that needs to go a lot more. And this is now awkward because he's such a high angle on the 7. He could block himself out with the pack unless he runs up the table and back down, which is again relying on a lot of luck to get good on that 2 ball and not be blocked out. He's way short of where he needed to be. So this is all relying on luck, and this looks pretty good if it bounces. And that's a cracking shot to get there, because it's not conventional to get there like that, but he's got there. And it's a solid wall of balls again. Is he going to get lucky? Well, he's got the 9 to keep him going. And he's only 10 behind. And Albinario, has he signed his own death warrant with that pot that he took on? It's beginning to look like it. And Stub has got a break ball. That 5 ball to get into the cluster, if he can get good in it, he can improve the situation there. It's all fallen into place at the right time. So the chances of progression at the moment are fair to good. He's overcut it. He's overcut it. Unbelievable. I mean, that is not a difficult pot, because his pockets cheat by so much. Had he sent that to the rail, it was going in every day of the week. And Albinario lives again. What a miss by Stub. And Albinario's got the break shot. Oh, who would have believed that he could miss that cut up the table? If anything, you cut it towards the rail, because you know then at the pace it's going to go in. But he's actually managed to overcut it. Well, maybe Stub was feeling the pressure of the situation. I don't know what the run ended on. Was it 30 something or whatever? It doesn't matter now. It's all turned on its heels with that shot. And Albinario, well, he's looking to make no more mistakes. Well, there's still the 3-ball in place. And it's parallel with the back of the pack, and it might have to do. He could use the 1-ball. It's still an option if it comes to it. It could go now, or he could stick with the 11. I'll be back in a second. I need to turn the heating off, it's too warm. Well, 13-ball. All paths lead to the 3-ball, let's put it that way. Oh dear. Well, he's still okay. But the 3-ball is gone. So now what's he going to do? It's going to be the 11 at the back of the pack. And it's very close to the back of the pack. Now, he wants to be able to roll through on this 7. If he can. He's trying to maybe pinch a bit to leave it straight. Yeah, he's just trying to stun to leave it straight in the 7. But now he's going to have to go to the rail and come out and get square on this 11-ball. So let's see what he looks like from here. Again, he's left it short. So Albinario on 129, Stub on 106. And it's another, well, it's guaranteed to open him. He's got to get the pot though. Cue ball's running safe. Plenty to choose from to keep going. Nothing set in those 2 2 clusters, but he's got the 5 ball where he can get into them. He doesn't want to be taking it at the moment, but he can come out for it if he wants, and that's ideal. He can certainly do a bit of damage again, and he has to do it with this opportunity. He doesn't want to hang about, and he's still got a shot. Although now, what's he on? 133, so 17 away, so he's obviously needing another rack. Well, the fat lady is warming up. She's gargling at the moment, but the fat lady will be singing if Albinario can get a break. Now let's look at these 2 balls in the bottom rail. Well, there might be a wee bit of an interval here because Albinario might, I don't know how old the kid is now, but if he's still changing diapers, as you American guys say, or nappies as we say over here, he could be gone for a good few minutes. But that, well, let's be honest, there's nothing happening there with that 13 and 2, so he's going to have to get into them. So there probably will be a little interval here till Albie sorts himself out, because remember it's 11:40 PM at night where Albie is. He's an hour in front of me, so if the kids woke up, it's either a bathroom break or something else. But Stub has been given more time, and of course Albinario's extensions are going. Now the question is if Albinario is going to get back in time, as to whether Stub's going to give him the shot. Now that would be the gentlemanly thing to do, bearing in mind the circumstances. But in terms of the tournament, and in terms of staying alive in the tournament, Stub has a serious dilemma. Well, Albinario's back. He's back in time. He's still got a few seconds left to play his shot, and he's still got an extension left. But again, he's got a minute shot clock anyway, so if he loses all his extensions now, it doesn't matter. He's only 14 away. Well, Mr. Sharp was talking about the fat lady, miasma. If you've not heard the term is it's not over till the fat lady sings, and Big Bertha is the fat lady, and she's definitely gargling and warming up. Albinario 12 away. Stub just getting ready to exit the room. Won't be long till he does. But nothing like that's going to happen until Albinario gets the breakout in this 2 and 13. This ain't cut and dried yet, folks. And he's in no position right now to do anything to that 2 and 13. And there's not a ball that is handy. I mean, the 6 is the nearest one, but he's going to have to get damn well good on it to do anything on this 2 and 13. Yeah, that was a gun, was it not? But Big Bertha in this terminology is a rather portly lady. Well, this isn't over yet. Albinario's looking around, but I can't think what he's looking at because he's got no angle to get back to this 2 and 13 off the 6. Now, if you were there, if you were here, that 2 cuts. If you play the 6 and you run through and come out and here, the 2 might cut, but you've got to go full-blooded for it. And he's scratched. Would you believe it? Running the cue ball again, and the cue ball's gone in the middle pocket, and Stub has got a shot, although I don't think he can get into the 2 and the 13. Well, this match has twisted and turned in the last hour. We've now gone 2 hours, and it ain't over yet. And the fat lady has been locked back in her dressing room. And Stub looking to get straight in the 6. He's gone too far. Is he trying to chip that in off the rail? I think he might be able to get it. He can just get there. Oh, well. Where's the 2 ball going over the middle pocket? Oh dear, Albinario. It was all but over. Only 11 points away. Now, having said that, it's a big ask for Stub. He's 31 behind. He's surely got to use the 2 ball as a break ball. He's got to get up the table. Somewhere up by the left middle pocket would be ideal to make the cut and get the hit in the pack. He can check the cue ball with inside left English off the rail if he wants to straighten the cue ball. But if he gets up here like that, if he needs to, he can check the cue ball. If he can't just go in a good line into the pack, he can check it with inside left to straighten it a bit if he wants to, but only if he can get up there. Well, I don't know if that's it. He's got an awful lot of action to get on this cue ball to do anything in this pack and be on a shot. Why he didn't risk going up the table, I don't know. He had to get up to the left middle pocket. The cut's easy enough. Big target area. He's played the draw, and now is he locked up? Is he on the 3? Yes, he is. He lives again. And the 4 ball's out. And he can run up the table for the 12 if he needs to. Well, it might be Albinario rage quitting before this match is over. Albinario still 27 points the lead, only 11 away from the finishing line. And he's at a puncture in the middle of the last lap. And Stubbs coming out the pits from a tyre change late on. He's got fresh slicks on. And he's looking to catch Albinario on the finishing line, basically. Well, the thing is, this match should never have been in this position. It should never have got to here. Albinario knows that. Everybody that's been watching it knows that. So 25 behind. Well, of course, we know there's an issue again, and the easy way of solving it would be the one ball. And the other issue, of course, there's two issues. The 9 and the 5. But both of these problems have balls adjacent to them that can deal with them. And if Stub, well, he's trying to draw into these, he just needs to go out and get good in the 8. And I don't know what he was thinking there, but he's got on the 9, more by luck than anything else. Brushing off the 8 ball has left him on the 9. And the other good thing about that shot is it opens up that right pocket for the 1. Now, what's the angle like in the 5? He would have to pinch a bit to go around the corner and risk going near the 6 if he was going to try and get high in the 1 ball to break those 2. But they'd have to cut that ball across. He needs to try and get good on it. He can do it off the 7. Let's have a look. Oh, that's crying out to pot the 7 and then just stun for the 1 ball, or even just run through slightly, and then you can get the breakout off the 1. Has to play it. Yeah, that's perfect. So problem has been dealt with. And now we're looking for the break ball. And Stub is only 20 behind. Well, you live or die by the decisions you make. In sporting terminology, that is. If only Albinario had listened to me and played the safety, he could have been home and dry by now. But it isn't done yet. It's twisted and turned twice this match. Is there another twist to come? Is Stub going to get the good break shot from the back of the pack, remember? He's going to be using the 15. And that's a good angle. But he's going to have to hit a corner if he can, with all the risks attached to this shot. He who dares wins. No, but if you'd seen if you'd seen the shot that Albinario had, go and watch the video once this match is over. Once it's up, go and look at the position Albinario had himself in, and he took on the shot when he should have played safe. The shot he took on was to try and win the match. He was trying to get to the finishing line far too soon, and he let Stub in. He let Stub right back into the match, albeit Stub had still to do work. He still had to pop balls. And then it's already turned another twice since then. But now Stub has got himself dead and buried. And again, it's going to turn. unless he can produce some magic here. Well, I know for a fact I wouldn't have. I would have looked at the scoreboard. Knowing the type of thing Stub does, you know you're going to get another chance. And from such a strong position, he may well still have sold the match. We don't know now. We haven't a bloody clue what's going to happen. Well, this is another really, really difficult. Yeah, it was so difficult to get an angle, to read that angle. And Albinario, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's going to need a ball out the cluster. And well, Stubbs certainly appreciates how difficult it is to string runs together. He's got himself into bother there with it, which may well be his last chance now, as it looks to be. But I think it's all very well trying to be the hero and finish the match off from a strong position. I mean, I don't see that as being a negative shot by letting common sense take over from the position Albinario had himself in. He was in a really awkward place in the bunch of balls with that cut shot that, you not only have to get it in line, you have to get the pace right for it to go in. And he knew fine well, obviously, he was going to blast the pack open. But he had such an easy alternative. Protect your points. Then make a move. I mean, the one thing to say is, if you think about it, look at the two safeties that Stubbs had to play where he's brought balls into play when Albinario did get a half-decent length on the cue ball. The two times that Stubb did play off the pack, he brought balls into play and let Albinario in. So, I still think I'm right, but we can agree to disagree. But the proof is here right in front of us. Albinario's struggling to go over the line and has been for the last hour. The commentator's not often wrong. He is occasionally, but not that many times. No, he probably won't. 7 away, but of course 1, 2, 3, 4, and not much doing in a cluster. So a reminder, folks, for any latecomers, the hot seat match between Larry and Semi-Pro is all scheduled for this Saturday night or Saturday afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. But in GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, it's set for 7 PM on Saturday night. I'll be there. And Albie's got the break on the balls that he needs. So the 4 balls are there. The 1 ball, the 8 ball, the 4 ball, and the 7 ball. Doesn't need to worry about the 3. He might even take the 2 or the 5 if he can see any of them. Not really, so he doesn't need to do anything silly. Just pick off what's sitting there. Right. Well, you might you see the shots that Stub played from good safeties, and Stub got them both wrong by trying to thin off the pack. I mean, there's always swings and roundabouts and what can happen, but you have to go by the odds. Albinario had a big, strong lead at the time, and he should not have taken it on, and he wouldn't have been there. And Stubb's gone, and Albinario's through, and it's all over, folks. Well, Albinario is a very lucky fellow. Because of that shot choice. And Stub, in the end, was unlucky by locking up in the pack. He should have, in the end, he should have won it, Stub, in all honesty, by being given that lifeline, and more than one lifeline he got it. But just running out of shape cost him in the end. And Albinario is lucky to have survived that. Let's just have a look at the bracket and see where that leaves us. We can see that Cobra has been lying in wait, and Albinario is now going to play Hazard, and the winner of that will go through to play Cobra. And in the meantime, if we jump across, we can see final confirmation, if I can find it, that Semi-Pro is all set. If I can find that thing, where is it? Up there, there we go. All set to play Larry this Saturday night at 7 PM GMT. So hopefully you can join us for that one. But any latecomers, go and watch this match. It's worth watching the start of it, because that was an absolute disaster for Stub. The strangest break shot you'll ever see in a straight pool game, or certainly in this tournament, and then watch what happens as the match progressed, and then review your opinion on what Albinario should have done. But that's a good thing. It always leads to arguments and disagreements about how a player should have played a shot, and that's what watching the match is all about, and what's the right thing and what's the wrong thing to do. So I just think, you've got your points on the board. When you've got the points on the board, you protect them at that stage in the match. It was such a vital time. And I mean, let's be honest, Stub was dead and buried at that point. And Albinario opened the door and let him come in. And Stub, he was really unlucky not to have stolen that match in the end. He should never have been given a chance. But he was unlucky, and Albinario scraped over the line. And he's going to have to get a bit wiser and a bit more thoughtful in that type of shot choice, especially in the players he's going to meet in the remainder of the tournament, because he's not going to get an awful lot of forgiveness out of the rest of the guys that are left in this tourney. But anyway, that's it, folks. We've got there. It was, 2.25 hours? At least that, I think. And we're almost at the end of the tournament. We've got another few matches to go. Obviously, once the Hazard match and that's taking place, then we'll know where we stand. So until then, until we get an update on that, thank you for your company. It's been a pleasure. I'm glad my mic's working as best as it can. It won't get any better, so I'm not tinkering with it again. I'm not taking any more advice or tips. It's there the way it is and the way it should be, and it's good enough for this game. So I am going for a coffee, and I bid you good night, and I hope to see you again at the weekend. So take care, guys. Stay safe. Wear your mask and wear it properly, and keep your distance, and I will see you again soon.